Hi there, and welcome to another quick video recapping some of the chess that happened in the BBC show Chess Masters the Endgame. This is from episode 3, so if you haven't seen that yet, please go and watch it on BBC iPlayer, and you can watch the elimination game in more detail as well. However, this is going to be from the part of episode 3 where they have a doubles match. So it was Claire and Navi against Lula and Caitlyn. It was actually, I think, was it Lula or Caitlyn? Lula it was who got the challenge correct, so she was able to choose her partner and she chose Caitlyn. And they were playing with the black pieces here, which was good for us because it means we get another French defence. And actually, Claire and Navi actually did play some really good chess in this. Maybe even ahead at one point. But I just want to cover the first few moves really, just to kind of pick up on something, just to show you a bit more detail about what was going on within the opening. So first of all, we had e4 and then e6, which is the start of the French defence. And then I can't remember. I don't know who was moving. Which one was it, Claire or Navi? They went knight f3, which is a little unusual to do it in this way. Usually you play your second pawn into the centre first and then delay moving that knight out. But there's nothing wrong with it. And after d5, I assume something like this happened. And we got to a position that looked a little bit like this. Now, I haven't gone through the exact moves, but I want to get you to a situation where something quite exciting happened. I believe that this knight came out to f6. They probably put this knight here. This bishop probably came to this square. Although actually they probably played c6 first, actually, just to stop that one coming out. And they went bishop d3, bishop d6. And now it's a case of did they castle or not? I believe that they didn't. I think this is where they probably made a mistake. So actually, in this position, it was something like this. I think that they went b3. And this is a move that was on the board, and it kind of becomes relevant in a couple moves time. But this is definitely not a move that I would play. I'm going to show you what happened, and then we'll come back to this. I think black castled here, and I believe that white then chose to put this bishop on g5. Something like this could have happened. Maybe this bishop was on e2, so there wasn't a check on the e-file. So we're going to ignore anything that happens down here at the moment. Maybe I've got the position slightly wrong. But it was this kind of area here that was shown on TV. And this move, bishop g5, pinning the knight to the queen, is a really aggressive move. And actually, trying to put the pressure on black. There's not actually really a follow-up to it, though. And actually, Lula and Caitlyn responded really well by actually completely ignoring it and actually moving their bishop again and playing bishop to b4, pinning the knight to the king, but also at the same time threatening to take the knight just outright. And I just really wanted to highlight this because the pawn that was on b3, could have been back on b2, and the pawn would have been defending the knight. And yet here at this point they had to retreat, and they could have tried to block with the queen and unpin the knight with the queen, but this would have been a terrible move because now after queen a5, there's actually no decent way of defending the knight. And if you don't do something, that bishop takes the knight, and then actually there's going to be a pin on your queen to the king at the same time. So this would have been a very easy way to kind of make mistakes. And so white had to bring the bishop back, and there was actually a bit of discussion between Claire and Navi at the time about what to do. Navi didn't want to move backwards, which is kind of the right mentality, but the mistake had already been made. Sometimes you do have to retreat to save your pieces, and they did eventually play bishop to d2, and they eventually got castled and they were safe. And actually, so for example, if queen a5 happens here, well, actually the knight can even move now because it's the bishop behind it, so you're actually okay. So there's no reason to do that. If bishop takes bishop check, you can just do knight takes bishop. No problems. But it all comes back to actually not necessarily the bishop g5 move being the problem, although it could have been better. At some point this move b3 was played, and I don't know who played it. I'm going to make an educated guess here and say that it was Claire. And the reason for that is, I'll come on to in a second, because I think from the episode 1 series we saw a similar kind of mistake happening on the board. But this is the prime example of what new players do. This bishop can already be developed this way, yet sometimes people think, oh, but I don't want to develop it that way, I want to develop it this way. And you lose time here. Here you've moved the pawn once, and then to move the bishop again you have to take 2 moves, whereas if you were to come out in this direction it would only take 1 move. And so this is just a very simple way of showing how quickly you can develop your pieces, but how with good intentions you want to get the bishop out in that direction, but actually it's it just takes too long. It creates weaknesses. You're also making your knight unguarded, and this is where opportunities exist early on in the game for people to take advantage of. The reason why I say that it could be Claire is because I'm pretty sure that Claire had a situation where she was playing black here, or something like that, and there was some sort of position where we had, let's say we go here, for example, she was black, and I know that her bishop, that her d pawn had moved, and there's maybe a few more pieces developed, and she could have moved her bishop out in for example to g4 would have been good, or even to d7 if need be, but she didn't. She ended up playing this move b6, and you see here how she wanted to get her bishop out this way, but it could already be developed in this direction, and in the end Caitlyn went here, and then here at this point attack, and Claire had an opportunity to play bishop to this square, which would unpin the knight, so therefore it wasn't pinned to the king, and instead she chose to go here, and then after pawn to d5 she ended up losing her knight, which wasn't so good. So just a quick one there, obviously on the French defence, and this move b3, which obviously happened at some point during the game. Position might not be absolutely spot on. There might be this bishop might be back here or something, or something different. But playing b3 here is a very common error that I see a lot, and just trying to choose where to put your pieces when you don't always get choice. Sometimes it's a rush to get your king castled, rush to get your pieces out. And try not to get your pieces unguarded at any time. This pawn was doing a good job of just defending the knight, keeping it solid. This could have been game over early on. Okay, if you like the video, give it a like and hit subscribe if you want to see more. But other than that, thanks very much for watching, and hope to see you again soon. Bye.